So, that last video, that was a long one. So, today what we're going to be trying to do is we're going to be trying to learn about how we can interpret graphs of different ways. So that's what we've been working towards. And we'll start from page 405 of our textbook. I might suggest just pause things for a minute, read through page 405. And you can read it from your own textbook as well. And then we move on to example 1 here, okay? Example 1. And this shows us a number of containers that are being filled up with a liquid at a constant rate. So effectively, in the same way that if you turn on a tap at home and you leave it running for a few seconds and then you put a glass underneath it, you'd expect like different glasses to fill up at different rates. So you've probably looked at like a vase being filled up, and if it's like really curved, then you'll see that it fills up very quickly and then it slows down and then it starts speeding up again as it fills up. But if you just put in a normal glass, normal everyday glass, you'd see that it just fills up at a constant rate. Okay? So that's what this is talking about. That's what this is considering. What I've actually done is I've taken a few of these shapes here, okay? And I've just redrawn them and made them into little kind of cue cards. So I've got the graphs describing the fill rate, the height of the water for each of these shapes, okay? And what we're going to do is we're just going to consider each shape and what we would expect each shape to do. So let's look at this one first. This simple cylinder, it's narrower than this cylinder here, so we'll compare both of these. So we imagine both of these will fill up at a constant rate. If the same amount of water is going into it each time, they're going to fill up at the same rate, but this one will go up quicker than this one because this is a wider glass. So think about half pint glass and a full pint glass. Full pint glass is going to fill up much slower than a half pint glass, even if the half pint glass is the same height. Okay, so this one will fill up very quickly at a constant rate. So we're looking at our graphs. Go up, this is a straight line, so it's rising at a constant rate. So we'll pair these two together. Similarly, this one's going to fill up at a constant rate, but more slowly. So we look through our graphs. We want one that's a straight line because it's constant and filling up much slower. So I'll put these two together. Okay, so these are the simple examples, but the tougher examples are these three here. Now I'll put these in order like this just because I'll go through each one. This one has a thick base and then it narrows rapidly, like instantly, and then it fills up a thin base. So what we're going to expect is a slow start and then a quick finish, okay? So this one has a slow start and then it instantly changes and has a quick finish. So I'm going to put that there. The next one here has a narrow base and a thick head. So it's going to fill up fairly quickly and then it's going to fill up quite slowly. So again, quick at the start, slow at the finish here. Quick at the start, slow at the finish. And then finally, this conical flask. This is just like a conical flask like you'd see in a science lab. You've probably filled one up before. Constant thick at base, narrows, and then thin at top. So what we want is we want constant, and then at this kind of curved section, at this kind of narrowing section, it's going to keep getting faster and faster and faster and faster and faster as it fills up. So what we see with this graph is that it's slow at the start and then it starts to speed up, but it gradually speeds up, right? So it's going to have that little bit of a curve. So if we had something that was just to put these aside for a second, if we had something just like this, simple kind of cone with a cut off top, we would expect that to fill with a curve like this. Okay? So curves upwards because it's constantly getting faster and faster and faster. Okay, let's look at a question from our textbook, and then I'll give you guys some homework to work through, okay? So, we'll go on to question 7 on page 409. I'm just going to slide that into grey. There we go. And the first, so it says match the graph to the story, and we've got the water level of a bucket and time, okay? So, first one is I fill a bucket with water. After a few minutes, my dog drinks some of the water. I decide to leave the water in the bucket in case he wants a drink later. So, he fills the bucket, leaves it for a few minutes, then his dog drinks a little bit, and then he leaves it, okay? So it goes rising as he fills it, leaves it for a few minutes, decreases after the dog drinks it, and then it's left, okay? So let's look at these graphs here. Not this one. That's decreasing until it's empty. That's also decreasing until it's empty. He says he leaves the bucket if in case his dog wants a drink later. So this rises, is left, decreases a little, and then is left. Okay, so this one here is just going to be C. Okay? Great. Let's look at this next one. I quickly fill a bucket with water, but it's spilt over and the water runs out. So he fills it up quickly, and then he knocks his bucket over, and it all empties out rapidly. So he fills it with water, it's knocked over, and it empties out rapidly. So it's going to be B. And this final one is I start to fill a bucket of water and pour the water steadily over my ceilings until the bucket is empty. Okay. So this one's an interesting one. Because if we say he has already filled his bucket and then he spilt over and the water runs out, then it's A. This one says, I start to fill a bucket of water and I pour the water steadily over my ceilings until the bucket is empty. I'm going to say both of these are B, technically. So this isn't a great question, and you need to just kind of consider this in an examination setting. If it says, match the graph to the story, this graph actually matches to 2 of them. So it would be a bad question to give you on the Junior Cert, but it's still worthwhile looking over. So I would maybe suggest that 2 might be A instead. Just because he says, I quickly fill a bucket. Really what he's done here is he's instantly filled a bucket, which isn't realistic. This bucket is already full when he tips it over. But we'll check the back of the book, and you guys should be checking the back of the book with each question. So this is 24.3. It's question 7, back of the book. Yeah, they say, I start to fill a bucket of water and pour the water steadily over my ceilings until the bucket is empty, is A here, but that's actually not accurate. If that was A, it would look, again, like that. Okay? So the reason why I picked this one is just because I wanted to get it out of the way. And what I'm going to ask you girls to do is attempt a few of these questions here. I'm going to say, as work, I'm going to say do on pages 406 through 409. And can we do questions 1 through 6, and I don't really like question 8, so I'm going to leave question 8. So do questions 1 through 6. Again, I'm going to ask that we upload these to Teams. If we're having any problems, please let me know in advance. And of course, this will be due for Monday. I believe it's the 23rd, Monday is. It'll show up on the Teams assignment. Thank you very much, girls. As always, feel free to message me if you have any problems. Have a wonderful weekend.